Hi Bold Bakers, here at Bigger Bolder Baking, I'm about getting you to bake with confidence anytime, anywhere, no matter your skill level or the tools that you have. I'm so passionate about this topic, I actually based my cookbook around pieces of kitchen equipment. So here's the great news. To be a successful baker, you really only need a handful of tools. So I have come up with the ultimate bakeware guide, which will cover everything from sizes to finishes, all the things that you look for in bakeware. I'll also cover cleaning to make your bakeware last longer. This video is brought to you by Good Cook and their textured non-stick bakeware. Now, as you'll see in the video, I will show you a variety of different bakeware, but you will see why I call this set my Essential 6. So let's start here. What is the difference between cookware and bakeware? Well, yes, there is a difference. Cookware is pans, frying pans, anything that goes on top of the stove, and bakeware is cookie sheets, cupcake pans, pie pans, anything that goes in the oven. So that's the difference there. So now let's talk standard bakeware. These pieces are literally the building blocks, the fundamentals that you need to pretty much make any recipe. Here I have a 9-inch cake pan, round cake pan, super important. So with 2 of these cake pans, you can make any of my cakes, from my best ever chocolate cake, my delicious carrot cake, and my mom's apple cake. So these are really important. I strongly recommend those. So this next pan is actually my favorite. It is a standard 8x8. So this pan is perfect for making my salted caramel brownies, my best ever blondies, and even my apple cider caramels. It's the perfect size. I love it because it's small and it's kind of neat. You can make delicious things out of it. So here we have my 9x13 pan. As you can see, it's bigger than the 8x8, obviously, and it is nice and deep. It has tall walls, so it's perfect for making my dinner rolls, my focaccia pizza, and even my cinnamon rolls. It's really great for that. Perfect for big bakes. So now next up is a quintessential part of your baking set. It is a baking pan. Now you can get these in small, medium, and large. They are rectangle always. They have shorter edges and they can be rolled or straight up. So these are also known as a jelly roll pan, and pretty much if you have a few of these in your kitchen, you're set when it comes to baking. This is perfect for my traditional Irish soda bread, my scones, and even for my brownie roulade. So that's a baking sheet. Now here we have a cookie sheet. Did you know there was 2 different things? Well, there are, and there's a little bit of a difference. Both can be used for baking cookies. That's totally true. But for a cookie sheet, it doesn't have 4 edges like the baking sheet does. It has 1 raised edge and the rest are flat. Now the reason for this is so that the air can circulate and bake your cookies more evenly. So not only great for cookies, when it comes to pizzas, I like to make my pizza on this tray so I can easily slide it into the oven. So that works really well. Okay, a cupcake pan, also known as a muffin pan, very self-explanatory, really important for your set. So I use this for my bakery style chocolate chip muffins, my complete breakfast muffin, which is a delicious breakfast, and even my vanilla cupcakes. So this is a must-have. So next up is my favorite topic, pies. Here I have a 9-inch pie pan, or it can be called a pie tin. The difference between this and a 9-inch cake pan is that it has slanted walls. However, I have used a cake pan before to make pies. It works really well, just in case you're in a fix. So for this, I love to make my no-bake chocolate pie, my 15-minute coconut pie, and of course, my classic apple pie. No matter what kind of pie you want, this is perfect. So the next one up, I would be lost without this little piece of bakeware. It is a 9x5 standard loaf pan. So I make everything in this, from my best ever banana bread to my hearty no yeast bread and even vanilla pound cake. It's also known as a bread pan, really important, inexpensive, and a must. So here we have a 9-inch springform pan, also known as a cheesecake pan, traditionally used to make cheesecakes. So this is a really nifty little tin, and it has a unique feature where it opens on the side so you don't have to lift something out of it. I use this for my Japanese cheesecake or even my Oreo cheesecake. It just makes sure that your cheesecake stays intact. Now come here to me, I want to show you a little baker's secret when it comes to cheesecake tins. What you do is you open up the sides, you take the base, you flip it over, put back on the tin, and then close it up. And what happens is you end up with a flat surface. If you don't do this, your tin has a dent in the bottom and it's harder to get out your cheesecake. Flipping it over makes life so much easier. So remember that little trick for later on. Okay, so next up, let's talk materials. Now there is much more than just baking pans to bake in, and they all have their pros and they have their cons. So let's start here. We're going to talk about glassware. Now glass does take quite a while to heat up, so that's important to note, but when it gets hot, it gets really hot. Glass is perfect for cooking something like brownies in because it will cook on the outside and it will still take quite a while to get into the middle, so your brownies will be nice and gooey. So a note about glass, do not take it from the oven and put it into the fridge or to the freezer, as this will cause it to crack. So let's talk stoneware. I love stoneware for baking. It has a lot of good things going for it. Number one, it's beautiful. Look at this lovely dish. You're supposed to take this from the oven straight to the table. Another great thing about stoneware is that it's non-toxic. So these are all great benefits. Also, it is non-stick and it's nice and deep. So it's great for making bread puddings and things like that. Nice big deep pies. So moving on from stoneware, let's talk ceramic. Now these two look very similar, but they are quite different. I'll tell you why. Ceramic conducts heat quite poorly compared to most bakeware. Also, it has a shorter lifespan, so it might not last as long. One good thing about it is that it's lovely, as you can see. It also is non-stick, so it's another option. If I were you, I would stick probably with the stoneware. Okay, so now let's talk cast iron. There are two different types of cast iron. Here I have a cast iron pan. You normally see this used for savory, but you can use it for sweet. I use it for my skillet brownies. Cast iron is fantastic for conducting heat. When it gets hot, it stays hot. So it's really fantastic for that. The one good thing about it is as well is that its surface is kind of non-stick, so things come out really easily. One of the downsides to cast iron is that it can rust. So you've got to be very careful that that doesn't happen. Also, it has kind of a porous surface, so don't use too much soap on it or you can actually taste it in your baked goods. Okay, so that's one cast iron. Now here is another one, enameled cast iron. Now for those bread bakers out there, you know exactly what this is for. Great for making beautiful loaves of bread in. The great thing about this is that it also has that lovely non-stick surface. It conducts heat really well and it looks beautiful. Regardless of which cast iron you use, make sure that you buy one that is lead-free. That's very important. So stainless steel, this is what we use in professional kitchens. It is fantastic because it is rust resistant, it has great heat distribution, and it's really, really durable. Think about being in professional kitchens. We have to wash dishes constantly throughout the day. It has to be rust proof, it has to stand the test of time. So this is a great material, and also it's not really expensive. So this is a really great option. Okay, so let's talk aluminized steel. Now, aluminum when paired with steel is actually possibly one of the best materials to bake with. This is my favorite. I love it because it's really durable. It will last you a lifetime. It is non-stick. Also, the heavy duty gauge steel makes this resistant to warping, which is really important in your bakeware. This piece is actually from the Goodcook textured non-stick bakeware. I'm going to put a link below where you can buy this directly. So here's a fun thing to bake with, silicone. This has become really popular. Now what I like about this is that it is eco-friendly and it can go into the oven, into the freezer, and even into the microwave. I use this to make my 3-layer microwave cake and it's really fantastic for that. One safety tip about using silicone, make sure you read the packaging because they do have a limit on what temperature they can go to. Big fan of this next one, insulated bakeware. Now I love this because like I said, it is insulated, so it is kind of protected from the direct heat of the oven. So if you are baking something like shortbread or anything that you want to have a very light golden brown bake to it, this pan is perfect. It kind of just protects your baked goods from the heat of the oven and gives it a more even, lovely bake. So here I have a piece of non-stick coated bakeware, and you probably recognize this because this is the most common piece of bakeware found across the country in people's homes. It is really easy to clean. Like I said, it's non-stick. It's also great value. So this is great for just overall everyday baking. So did you know there's a difference between baking in darker pans or a lighter pan? And the difference is a dark pan will absorb the heat and will actually make your baked good brown faster, maybe even burn. A lightly colored pan reflects the heat and will give you a more even golden brown bake. So there's nothing really to be too worried about here. Just be careful when baking in darker bakeware that maybe you just cook it for a little bit less. So next we're going to talk about features, surfaces, finishes, those kinds of things. I have chosen the Good Cook textured non-stick bakeware set because I think this has everything that I suggest you buy. So it is non-stick, that's really important. Non-stick just means easy release, easy cleaning, it makes your life a lot easier. So this particular set has diamond infused non-stick coating. Now you can see there by the texture. So now come here to me, this is why I want you to get sets like this, because this textured surface ensures that the air will flow around your baked goods and make sure that you get like lovely even baking, and also it releases your food so much easier. Also, this set has these gorgeous, really straight flush edges, which is exactly what you would see in bakery style cakes and things like that. So it just gives an overall lovely look to your baked goods. So I'm going to put a link below where you can buy this on Amazon. So a few tips about cleaning and caring for your bakeware. Now this is really important because you want it to last a long time. So there's a few simple tips. Number one, don't use those non-stick sprays out there. They're not good for your pans and they're not good for you. So what I recommend is just line your trays with parchment paper and that will be just fine. So another thing, never put a really hot tray into a sink of cold water. This can cause your tray to buckle or to warp, and once it finds that shape, it might not settle back. So just avoid doing that. Let it cool down before you put it into the sink. So rule number one when working with non-stick bakeware, never put a knife, anything sharp, anything that can scratch that non-stick surface in there. Once that surface is damaged, you actually have to replace that piece of bakeware, so just be careful. Use silicone spatulas, whatever it is, just something quite gentle. Once you wash your baking trays and pans, make sure that they're really dry before you put them away. If they're not, they can get rusty in the cupboard and you do not want that. Also, make sure you hand wash your bakeware. Don't put it into the dishwasher as this can damage your bakeware and damage the surface. So just hand wash it, even wipe them and then put them back in the cupboard dry. So after all of that information I just gave you, what do you really need? Well, the answer is very little. So here are my picks, my top pieces of bakeware, and you'll be happy to know there's just 6 pieces. Now I have chosen from the Good Cook textured non-stick bakeware. You have a 9x13, a cupcake pan, a cookie sheet, a loaf pan, and 2 cake pans. With just these pieces, you're good to go. The great thing is it is inexpensive. It is the holiday season. This is perfect for the baker in your life. Thank you so much to Good Cook for sponsoring this video. All of the information along with the links for these products can be found on biggerbolderbaking.com. And I'll see you back here really soon.